So this right here is a list of my top 5 summer highball cocktails for this year, 2026. And in this video, I'm gonna be going into more detail about all these different cocktails. If that sounds interesting, then this is the correct video for you. My name is Ron Veerman. I'm a full-time medical doctor, and I've been home bartending for nearly 6 years now. During that time, I've learned how to make over 150 different cocktails, and I've thrown over 60 cocktail parties. And I teach other busy professionals how to make cocktails at home. And in this video, I'm gonna be going over my top 5 highball cocktails for summer 2026. So let's get right into it. Number 1 on my list is the Paloma. And Paloma is number 1 on this list for a very important reason. Out of all the 150 plus different cocktail recipes that I have made, across the 60 plus cocktail parties that I've hosted, where I've served hundreds or probably even thousands of drinks by this point to hundreds of different people, the Paloma is by far the number 1 most complimented cocktail that I've ever made during that time. I think it's the most complimented cocktail for a number of different reasons. One is that highball cocktails in general are just extremely pleasant and well received by a lot of different people. A lot of my most complimented cocktails are highball cocktails, so that's why this is a very important video for you guys to learn, not just for summer 2026, but for every summer coming forth. And honestly, you can make a lot of these cocktails year round. I made highball cocktails even in the middle of winter when I lived in a very cold part of America, and those highball cocktails were still extremely well received then. So these are timeless. You can make them any season. You can make them any type of weather, any type of party you're hosting. Highball cocktails are amazing. And the Paloma, out of all those, is the one that's most complimented. Highballs in general are just well received, but I think people are very, that specific combination used in the Paloma of grapefruit and tequila is one of the best combinations in all of home bartending and all of mixology, in my opinion. And another reason I think it's so well received is because Paloma, I've seen it countless times on different cocktail menus at bars I go to, and every time I order the Paloma at a bar, I have been disappointed. And this is something that a lot of my guests have said as well. A lot of my different friends and family that have gone to these different bars and ordered Palomas, a lot of them are extremely disappointed when they get the Paloma at those bars. But when they come to my parties, when they come have my Paloma, it just blows their mind because it's so much better than the ones they've had at bars. And I have gone through the same experience myself. Like I said, when I go out to other places, I sometimes order the Paloma and I'm almost always disappointed. But when I make the Paloma myself, it's an extremely amazing cocktail. I always love the Paloma when I make it for myself, and so do all of my guests. That's why it's my most complimented cocktail. And if you want to learn how to make the Paloma, as is the case for all 5 of these cocktails, I actually have videos. I won't make any of them specifically in this video, but I have tutorial videos on all 5 of these cocktails. And those will all be linked in the description below. The Paloma will be that the top link out of all those different cocktail videos. So if you're really interested in making the Paloma the way I make it, and in terms of receiving those compliments as well, go ahead and watch my video on the Paloma. Learn how to make the Paloma. That combination of grapefruit, soda, and tequila is extremely pleasant, extremely well liked, extremely well received. It's a great cocktail to have in your repertoire, not just for summer 2026, but for any season, any time of year, any type of weather, any type of party you're hosting. Paloma is a great option. It'll just be well received and liked by any type of guest. Now for number 2 on my list, we're going with the Moscow Mule. This is by far one of the most popular highball cocktails out there. I would argue that it's the most popular highball cocktail. It's just extremely well known. Everyone's heard of the Moscow Mule that knows anything about alcohol and about cocktails. Everyone's heard of the Moscow Mule. Classic cocktail from some point in the early to mid 1900s. And I think of it really as like the template, not just for mules or bucks in general, but for really all highball cocktails. And it's a great essential cocktail to learn. I think it's one of the 5 core cocktails that you can learn along with the old-fashioned, martini, daiquiri, margarita. I think the Moscow Mule is that 5th core cocktail because it's not just a cocktail, it's a template for the whole family of highball cocktails. And it's the most popular of all the different highball cocktails. It's a great combination of vodka, lime juice, and ginger beer. It's the only cocktail on this list that does include ginger beer as its soda. I chose this list for a lot of different reasons. One is that there's a great breadth and variety and depth of all the different ingredients in terms of the sodas, in terms of the core spirits. So the Paloma was grapefruit soda and tequila. The Moscow Mule is vodka So the Paloma is tequila, grapefruit soda. The Moscow Mule is vodka and ginger beer. So all these different cocktails, they have different core spirits and different sodas or different ingredients that you're going to be combining with it. So that's why there's a lot of great depth with this list. So the Moscow Mule is great for a lot of different reasons. Extremely well received as well. I would say, I don't know the exact numbers after the Paloma, but I would say Moscow Mule probably in my top 5 to top 10 most well received, most complimented cocktails. And I've done different videos on the Moscow Mule. I've done one on the regular Moscow Mule, and I've also done one on the blood orange Moscow Mule. So I'll just put both those in the description below. Really, the only main difference is depending on what type of ginger beer you're using, you can just use classic ginger beer. But Fever Tree and Q Mixers, which are my favorite soda companies, I recommend them for all the different sodas here. They make hibiscus ginger beer, they make pineapple ginger beer, they make blood orange ginger beer, all these different types of ginger beers. So choose whichever one you want to make for that particular flavor, but you can't go wrong with the classic, just a regular ginger beer. That'll give you the classic Moscow Mule, so great cocktail there. Number 3 on my list is the Americano. The Americano is the only low ABV version on this list because for its core spirit, it doesn't use any liquor. It actually combines Campari and sweet vermouth. So those are both lower ABV, so the overall complexity of this cocktail, the overall ABV of this cocktail is going to be a lot lower because Campari and sweet vermouth are not nearly as strong as vodka, tequila, gin, something like that. And for the soda component, you're just going to be using simple soda water or sparkling water. So here, your core alcohols are going to be Campari and sweet vermouth, split base, 1 ounce of each. And then you're going to be having soda water or sparkling water. So this is a great low ABV option. I wanted to include one on this list because a lot of times in summer, you're going to be doing some form of day drinking. You're going to be throwing brunch parties or pool parties, 4th of July parties, things like this that are going to be happening in the daytime. You don't want those heavier, high ABV cocktails at those occasions because you don't want to get drunk or buzzed or something or tipsy or something like that in the middle of the day. You want to have a nice low ABV option. So that's why I wanted to put the Americano on this list. It's the only low ABV option on this list. Now for number 4, we're going with the exact opposite route. We're going with the Long Island Iced Tea, which is the highest ABV cocktail on this list. It contains a ½ ounce each of the 5 core clear spirits that are going to be used in this, which are going to be vodka, gin, white rum, tequila blanco, and then Cointreau or some form of like orange liqueur, like a triple sec or something like that. Some form of orange liqueur like Cointreau is one that I mainly use. And then for your soda component, you're going to be having Coca-Cola or any other type of cola, Pepsi Cola, Diet Coke, something like that. So this is a great cocktail as well. Although it's famous for being like a really strong cocktail associated with things like getting drunk in college and all those, and spring break and all these different occasions where it's associated with just pure alcoholism, pure drunkenness. I think the Long Island Iced Tea is actually underrated in terms of its complexity as a cocktail. It does find a good way to really combine all those 5 core clear spirits. Also bringing in some simple syrup, some lemon juice, and of course the Coca-Cola as well, which gives it that distinctive tea color. I think it actually ends up being a really complex cocktail. I've served it as the core cocktail at one of my very first parties, probably my first big party, which was Halloween 2020. One of my favorite parties of all time, for sure. So I have a lot of great memories associated with the Long Island Iced Tea and that specific party, but I've made it on other occasions as well. I think it's a great cocktail. I think it's just extremely underrated because of that. It has that negative connotation. It's thought of something that, when people are in college or just coming out of college, they're just trying to get drunk, they're on spring break or some type of vacation or something like that, they're just trying to go crazy. It's a cocktail that's associated with that, but in reality, it just contains 2.5 ounces of alcohol. A lot of the other cocktails on this list, like the Paloma or the Moscow Mule, will contain 2 ounces, so it's only a little bit stronger. And there are cocktails that I make, like the Margarita, for example, that also have 2.5 ounces, but the Margarita doesn't really have that same association as the Long Island Iced Tea. The Long Island Iced Tea, if you make it this way, where I just do a ½ ounce each of those different ingredients, of course, there are probably bars out there where they double all the ingredients and they do a full ounce of everything, and that's going to get you really buzzed and really drunk. But if you just do it this way, the ½ ounce of each, I think it lends to becoming a really nice, complex cocktail that you can serve in summer 2026 and in the years coming forward as well. And the final cocktail on this list, we went from the Long Island Iced Tea, which is the most complex and most ingredient-heavy cocktail on this list, to the Cuba Libre, which is a very simple cocktail. It is basically just a rum and Coke, but it has that addition of a little bit of lime juice that really ties everything together. Lime and rum is a classic combination. Lime and Coke, or lime and any type of cola, I think is also a classic combination. So when you put all these 3 ingredients together, it really comes together in a great cocktail. This is going to be the main rum cocktail on this list. So rum is associated a lot with tropical, with tiki, with warm weather, with the Caribbean, things like that. So I think it's a great summer cocktail to have rum as the core spirit for one of your summer cocktails. So I think it's a great highball for that for a lot of different reasons. It is extremely simple, but still balanced, still complex. I think it's a great addition to your list. So just to summarize, if you're going to learn only 5 highball cocktails for this summer, or if you're even going to learn just like one or two, make it something from this list. I think these are the top 5 highball cocktails that you can learn for this summer 2026. And as I've already mentioned a few times already in this video, I think they're great cocktails, not just to learn for this summer, not just to learn for future summers, but to learn for really any type of different season. I think these cocktails can be enjoyed year-round. Highball cocktails are extremely pleasant. They're well complimented. They're well received by a wide variety of guests. I have guests that don't even like tequila, that like the Paloma. I have guests that don't like rum, that like the Cuba Libre. And people that don't like Campari like the Americano. So a lot of different people with a lot of varied taste preferences and things like that, they still like those specific ingredients that they may shy away from in other contexts. They still like those when they're used in highball cocktails. So these are all great cocktails to learn. Paloma, Moscow Mule, Americano, Long Island iced tea, Cuba Libre. Again, links to tutorial videos where I have made all these different cocktails. I've made tutorial videos on all these 5 different cocktails. Those links will all be in the description below. So if you really are inspired by this video, you want to learn how to make all 5 of these cocktails or even just 1 or 2 of these different cocktails, go ahead and watch my tutorial videos on those cocktails and really enjoy these cocktails. I know your friends and family, your guests will enjoy these cocktails. I know you're going to be throwing amazing parties this summer featuring these cocktails on that list. Anyways, that's all the advice I have for this video. If you find the advice in this video helpful, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I like to do 2 styles of videos on this channel. The first will be a tutorial style video where I show you all how to make a specific cocktail. Examples of those include the 5 videos I made that are going to be in the description below, linked in the description below, showing you all how to make all these different cocktails. And the second style video will be like this one where it's talking head style. I answer questions on different topics, share tips and tricks, go over different things from my own home bartending journey, things like that I hope will help you guys become better home bartenders. And finally, if you want to take home bartending even more seriously, I actually have a paid community on school.com. That'll be the first link in the description below. Thank you. Cheers.